Welcome. Today we're speaking with Sharon Tidbury, who is the president of Aspire Down Under, a national travel agency based in New York. Sharon, welcome.
Hi, James. Thanks for having me today.
Sharon, can you first tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to create Aspire Down Under?
Absolutely. I moved over to New York in 1994 and worked for a major agency specializing in travel to Australia. And they subsequently closed down in 2002. So at that point, I decided to start our own agency because there was a real gap in the market in New York. And travelers have a lot of interest in getting to Australia. There's a lot of Australians in New York that need to get home. So there's just a really good community of travelers and expats constantly looking to travel to Australia. So that's what we really hung our speciality on and really just focus on Australia, New Zealand, and the South Pacific Islands.
Sharon, we're getting a lot of feedback from our members who are, for the first time in a couple of years, now flying to Australia. In fact, in one instance, a member contacted me who was very nervous because they'd booked their flight to Australia. They were flying American Airlines to the West Coast, and then they were flying United to Melbourne, and the email itinerary verification that came back came from Qatar Airlines. So naturally, there's a lot of concern from some members, like, do I have to change my bags in LA? Are the bags going to be booked all the way through? Perhaps you can talk about some of the feedback you're getting from your clients and in similar situations.
Absolutely. So there is a lot of confusion and strange things happening in the airline space right now. I have firsthand experience. I literally just returned from Australia 2 weeks ago. So I actually was able to go through all the processes, all the digital authorizations that are required and the flying. I think the main thing for your members to know is that it's going to make your itinerary and your flying experience a lot simpler if all your flights are on one ticket. Whenever you split up your flight reservations, you do put yourself at risk from cancellations, misconnections, airlines not matching up with each other. So if all flights are on one reservation and one ticket, one airline is going to take responsibility for any schedule changes. At the moment, we're flying down to Australia at 51% capacity of 2019. So that makes a lot less flights available for booking. That means that the airlines are still ramping up. We've seen a lot of incidences where airlines put flights on sale on the schedule and then are withdrawing them a month or a couple of weeks before departure, which means clients are being rebooked on alternative airlines, alternative dates. And often it's the robot system that's doing that, not an individual, which means a lot of the flights are misconnecting and not matching up. Highlights might be coming from other airlines. It's a confusing time and can be difficult to navigate. And when the client gets those notices, often they have to call into the airline and they can be on hold for 4, 5, 6 hours at a time, trying to get through for days. So it is very difficult, and the airlines are understaffed and under-resourced. So one of the things to note when returning from Australia, definitely think about getting to the airport with at least 3 to 4 hours at check-in. What I found when I was flying back from Sydney International Airport, even though I was flying business class, there was no express line to get through security. So you are in the line and you've got a building time for that. There's less staff on the counters and it's taking a lot longer to get through.
So, for example, someone, say, pre-COVID, would go onto an airline's website and book their tickets. That's it hasn't been an issue in the past, but now, as you say, because they're only flying at a lower capacity and airlines are changing flights at last minute, does it make more sense for someone to book through someone like yourself, through a travel agent, as opposed to going online and booking through a kayak or one of through an airline directly?
Great question. Anybody that had to cancel their arrangements in 2020 knows what a difficult situation it was trying to get through to some of the main online travel agencies. And obviously they had to let a lot of staff go throughout the pandemic, and they're now ramping back up, trying to recruit, trying to get the customer service back on track. There's just no getting away from the fact that everybody is under-resourced, and the airlines definitely let a lot of their customer service departments go. And the airlines are trying to automate everything they do. They want their systems to be able to handle. So clients have a choice. If they want to book online, they can, but they have to expect limited service. If you do want the security and the guidance, you're better off booking through a travel agent. Not only will you get through on the phone pretty much straight away, but you'll also have somebody who's educated and has their finger on the pulse of the requirements that are constantly changing every week about entering Australia or entering a country. And if there's a schedule change, the travel agent is the one that will reissue the flight for you, advise you of the time change, and make sure your ticket's up to date.
Sharon, when I worked in financial services, the saying was fees are only an issue in the absence of value. So if someone does contact you about booking a flight, are they looking to pay a little more, about the same, or is it possible to get flights even cheaper than they could otherwise online?
They're certainly not going to pay more. We can either offer the best available fare that's in the market. Sometimes we can offer better. But what I also think one of our true values is, a client might come to us with certain dates and criteria. We can enter that into our flights reservation system and then put in what we call our bargain shopper entry. And that will give us a whole list of different options that might save the client money, or a different routing, which means they get business class if they wanted it on that day, or premium economy. We just got that technology right at our fingertips within a few seconds, that we can provide so many options, which would take hours searching for online.
You also have access to fares that may not be available in the market. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So as a specialist, we have really great relationships with the few airlines that do fly down to Australia. And we're often doing campaigns with Tourism Australia for packages. So with that, we get private fares that are not in the published space. So we'll have private fares that we can use for trips as well, and often adds really good value to the trip. And the other thing I want to mention as well is airlines, when they offer routes to clients, the connecting times are ridiculously low. And we make sure that we don't book the flights that give you a 45-minute connection in San Francisco. We make sure that you have enough time to be able to get through security and immigration and everything that you need to do, so that you don't miss your connection. We're seeing that come up more and more all the time.
Sharon, this is of excellent information. Thank you for that. If someone did want to reach out to you, to contact you, and with an inquiry, what's the best way that they can do that?
Well, on our website, aspiredownunder.com, we have several ways to contact us. The best way is probably on our toll-free number, 877-727-7473, or you can just email us at sales@aspiredownunder.com.
Excellent. Sharon, again, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Great to talk to you.